There's lots of issues with the Coastal GasLink project. The project did pass the approval process of a BC NDP government. Now, as we said, it has the support of all the elected chiefs. And as National Chief Perry Bellegarde just said, that doesn't include the hereditary chiefs. But is this one project that even the Green Party can support? Let's find out. The Green Party parliamentary leader, Elizabeth May, joins us from Victoria. She's been listening in. I know you've opposed this pipeline, and the Green Party has in the past. But if your party respects the rule of law, there was a consultation process. The governments, many of the elected First Wet'suwet'en chiefs support this. Could you and your party approve this pipeline?
Let's talk about the rule of law a little bit, Evan. I think we really need to examine the fact that John Horgan is wrong when he says the Wet'suwet'en people are not respecting the rule of law. It's the BC government and the RCMP and Coastal GasLink that are not respecting the rule of law. The Supreme Court of Canada is part of our, obviously, our legal structure. And it's a really rare thing when you have a conflict on the ground that you have a pre-existing Supreme Court of Canada decision in Delgamuukw from 1997 that says that Wet'suwet'en people have not surrendered their sovereignty, they were not conquered, they have not signed a treaty, it is their land, their territory, and the hereditary chief system as a governance system that predates our Constitution, predates the existence of Canada, has stature and standing and is respected through Section 35 of our Constitution. So I know there's an injunction, but an injunction is hardly a law. It's a legal procedure to protect one interest in a conflict. It's not the case
Elizabeth,
that the Wet'suwet'en are violating the rule of law. Yeah.
Yeah, but with all due respect, the elected officials, and believe me, I appreciate the argument that elected officials are creatures of the Indian Act, which is, the argument is that's a colonial structure. They only have jurisdiction on the reservation. Well, the hereditary chiefs have other territorial jurisdiction. I appreciate that. But who are you or me or anybody to say how the Wet'suwet'en nations are to be governed? The Wet'suwet'en nations have agreed that there's elected chiefs. The whole process for years has passed through with multiple consultation. Only now are we seeing these protests. So why doesn't the government just say that who are we to deal with? We're supposed to deal with the elected chiefs.
Let's be clear. The elected chiefs have jurisdiction over the reserve land areas. The Supreme Court of Canada estimated the area of traditional territory of Wet'suwet'en at potentially up to 22,000 square kilometers. And within the Wet'suwet'en Nation, it's understood that the elected chiefs and band councils deal with areas dealing with the reserve areas, which are much smaller. We're talking about not what I say and not what you say, but what the Supreme Court of Canada said. And when you look at the Delgamuukw decision from '97, and then you read the Chilcotin decision from 2014, it is not clear at all, and I think it's wrong in law, to act as though the hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en are on the wrong side of the law. I put it to you, the government of Canada, the government of British Columbia are on the wrong side of the law under our Constitution, as determined by the Supreme Court of Canada.
I appreciate that, but I'm wondering, are you picking and choosing things that may be convenient to your political point of view? In other words, let's ignore a court order and the courts who say this is allowed to go through, and let's go back to a court decision that maybe buffers the argument that it shouldn't go through. In other words, are you picking whatever legal argument is more convenient?
I tend to stick to the law and stand on it because it's a good way to go forward. The injunction ruling against the Wet'suwet'en in favor of Coastal GasLink made note of the fact that hereditary chiefs had offered a compromise routing and that the Coastal GasLink, in the words of the court, had unilaterally rejected a compromise route for the pipeline that would ignore the most pristine areas and the ones that are most culturally significant for the Wet'suwet'en. I think that's shocking. Now, I can be very clear here that the Green Party of Canada will continue to oppose fracking for natural gas. It's fracked gas to go through the pipeline. We'll continue to oppose the carbon bomb that is fracking in this country and LNG. But on the basis of reconciliation, free, prior, and informed consent, it is an abdication of responsibility of both the federal and provincial governments that they did not intercede and say, look, Coastal GasLink, you're not entitled to say you don't want to look at a different route that the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs have put forward.
Okay.
They are the legitimate form of government in that territory. They put forward a compromise, and now they're being painted into a corner as though they're somehow criminals. They are not. I violated an injunction, as you know, in the Kinder Morgan protest.
Yeah.
And it's not that that's not breaking a law. There's no law broken because there's no criminal code statute of any kind or section of the criminal code that I violated. There's a conflict on the ground right now, and I think we need to reform injunction law because it converts our police and our RCMP into private police in the interest of a corporation that obtains an injunction.
All right,
it's not an easy issue.
But no, it is not. And I really look, this is a critical issue that we need debate and understanding on and not just gut reactions to. And I really appreciate you joining us as well. Green Party Parliamentary Leader Elizabeth May.